In this lesson, we're going to talk about the heel-toe technique. But before I get into that, I just want to talk a little bit about bass drum technique in general. Now, I actually have a separate product out called Bass Drum Secrets that I did with a couple of friends of mine, Dave Atkinson and Sean Lang. And in that product, we kind of delve into bass drum technique in such amazing detail. It's absolutely insane. So here, I'm just going to talk about one technique. And this is the technique that I would say I'm most known for, and that's called the heel-toe technique, which is a unique technique that produces two strokes with one motion. Now, there are other techniques that you can use to produce two strokes on the bass drum, or to produce a double stroke on the bass drum. One of them is just the slide technique. You can just do straight toe strokes, or you can just play heel down and do a quick double stroke that way. Now, I have never really practiced slide, and I've only really practiced heel-toe, so I'm not really the guy to teach slide. But I still want you to be able to do a quick double with your one foot, because I know how valuable that can be, especially at some of the faster tempos. You know, even with 16th notes, if you're playing a song at 160 and you want to do, double strokes on the bass drum, well, you need to either have slide technique or heel-toe that you can utilize to do those quick double strokes. Okay, so you need to choose which one you want to learn. Now, if you want to learn heel-toe, this is a great place because this is what we're going to talk about. But if you want to learn slide, you can easily go find a lesson on slide either within the Bass Drum Secrets package or somewhere else, and you can learn how to do that technique and use these exercises to actually develop it and actually get better at it and start integrating it into your drumming. Okay, so let's just first talk about the heel-toe technique and the easiest way to learn it. Okay, if you're sitting by your kit, just put your foot on your pedal and put your toe to the top of the pedal. Now, the bass drum beater is going to be resting on the bass drum head. Okay, my heel is in the air. This is what I call the starting position. This is the way that you want to start to learn this technique. Eventually, you can do the technique with heels down and starting like this, or your heel halfway up, which you see me do a lot of nowadays because I don't generally like to bury the beater all the time. I like hitting the bass drum and I like letting the beater come off. A lot of drummers, especially in rock drumming, they just keep it on the head. Okay, so when learning it, just do it this way. So beater on the head, then what happens is you drop your heel and it hits this back plate. Now you're probably thinking, well, shouldn't the heel actually hit the pedal and produce a stroke? And that's not the case. I know it's called the heel-toe method, but that's not the case with as far as what's producing the stroke. Then what happens is you do a rocking motion or a rolling motion. So you start like this, your heel comes back, rolls back into the starting position. So this is the motion. And within that time, you will produce two strokes. So just take a look at this when I do it faster. Okay, so the heel comes down, and at this part of your foot hits the first note, and then you release a tiny bit, comes off, and you lift your foot back up and hit the bass drum again, and then you're back in the starting position, which is where you want to be. And this allows you to do consecutive strokes. When we get to number 7 on the sheet music, you're going to hear constant notes, and it's going to be crazy fast, especially at the faster tempo. And so it's important for you to be able to play that, because there's certain sections in certain songs where you're going to need to play a little bit of a faster bass drum stroke. Unless you're playing just straight jazz or Latin or lighter music, then this maybe isn't a necessity for you and your drumming. But if you want to play pop rock music where you're playing some fills, you might be doing the odd like 4-bar drum solo or stuff like that, it's important for you to learn this. Okay? So that's the way that the heel-toe technique is done. Now, the way you practice that is I basically just will play 8th notes on my hi-hat and then insert the 16th note triplet notes in between there. It's very similar to number 7, just remove the snare drum from that. And I'll just start slow and I'll speed it up and get faster and faster. Now, as far as pedal tension, these pedals are set to just like the medium tension that was close to being out of the box. It's not super tight, it's not super loose. The beater distance away from the head is around 6 to 7 inches. Okay, so it's not ultra close, and it's not really, really far away. The board I'm using is not very long. It's not a longboard pedal. It's just a DW9000 pedal, which is a high-quality pedal, but it's not like made for metal or made for like big feet or anything like that. I have size 12 feet, and this technique still works great for me on this pedal. Okay, the next thing I want to talk about, once you've kind of mastered that, take some time with it. If you want more information on this bass drum technique and lots of others, I can't go into it on this product, otherwise it literally would be another 15 hours long, because that's how long we spent on teaching bass drum technique in the Bass Drum Secrets package. And so if you want more on that, go ahead and get that, or you can find other information on just the slide technique or other techniques there. So now the next thing I want to talk about is how to do a triple stroke. You'll notice on exercise number 8, there's a quick triple stroke there. And all we're doing there is slowing down the rocking motion to produce 3 strokes instead of 2. So check out how this sounds. Okay, I'll try and slow it down for you. The heel hits, produces the first stroke. Halfway up, I produce another one. And then all the way up, I produce the final stroke. Okay, so it's a little bit more challenging. I'd highly recommend just practice the double stroke first, and then move on to practicing the triple stroke. Now, one final thing I want to mention before we actually get into the exercises is this is a technique I use for playing faster double strokes. If I need to play a quick double stroke, or it's not even quick, if I need to play a 16th note double stroke at 70 beats per minute, well, that doesn't warrant me using this technique. I'll simply just have my heel up, which is the way I normally play, and play a quick double that way, like this. So generally, it's used for faster playing. And that's the way I demonstrate it. Okay, I demonstrate exercises 1 through 4 at 130 beats per minute, and then 160 beats per minute. Then exercises 5 through 8, I demonstrate at 70 beats per minute and 110 beats per minute. And then exercises 9 and 10 are at 130 and 160. Now quickly take a look at exercises 9 and 10 before we get to the demonstration. You'll notice that the technique is actually being played on the hi-hat. And this is something I stumbled across a long time ago, and I've literally just fell in love with it. It's turned me into a double pedal drummer even when I don't have a double bass drum pedal. So I end up using my left foot to play this technique as well as lots of other stuff. And this is how the technique looks played with the left foot. So it's not much different from doing it on the right foot or your lead foot as it is doing it with the hi-hat foot. And so make sure you practice that and actually learn how to do it with your hi-hat, because there's so many things that it can open you up to. What I love doing is just playing, the quarter notes with my right foot, and then doing the hi-hat open note on all the ands. So opening the hi-hat and splashing on all the and the 16th note, and then just soloing over top of that. And it sounds absolutely unreal, and it's not even that challenging because your feet are basically just doing right, left, right, left, right, left. Because you'll see when I play this motion, my leg only comes up and down one time. So with one motion, we're producing 2 strokes. Okay, with that said, let's get to the exercises, and I'll see you at the end of the lesson. And there are the demonstrations on the heel-toe technique. Like I said, if you want a ton more information on bass drum technique, if you want to talk more about how to do this with a double pedal, like a double bass drum pedal, check out the Bass Drum Secrets package. I don't want to try and sell you something within something you've already bought, but I can't provide that to you here within Successful Drumming, because this product is about providing you with the information that you absolutely need to kind of build the solid foundation of your drumming. Then you can choose to go wherever you want to go. Okay, you want to practice speed metal? Well, then you can go ahead and get the Bass Drum Secrets. If you want to practice fast bass drum playing and hard rock, go ahead and get the Bass Drum Secrets. For your assignment, I want you to play these all at the starting tempo. Okay, you don't have to play them at the fast tempo, so you're going to be playing them at 130 and 70. Okay, that's all marked on the sheet music. If you want, you can go ahead and challenge yourself and really push yourself to play it at the faster tempos, but that's not necessary before moving on. So play them at the starting tempo for 2 minutes each, perfectly, and then move on to the next exercise. I'll see you in the next video.